Tonight's one of 42, as Simon said, isn't so much of an object as a character. With the Olympics due to take place in Tokyo later this month, it's perhaps fitting that we look at William Henry Grenfell, Lord Desborough, who made the Olympics what they are today. Now, in 1894, Baron Pierre de Coubertin, the father of the modern Olympics, organised an international congress in Paris to propose the revival of the Olympic Games. The Prince of Wales, later Edward VII, and at that time Grand Master of the United Grand Lodge of England, sent Lord Ampthill as Britain's representative. Lord Ampthill was a contemporary rowing blue of Willie Grenfell at Oxford, and he went on to become Programme Master of UGLE. By a unanimous vote, the Congress in Paris decided upon the revival of the Olympic Games and the formation of the International Olympic Committee, or the IOC. Now, the city chosen to celebrate the beginning of the new series was Athens in 1896. From Athens, the Games moved to France, and the IOC had determined to link the 1900 Games with the Universal Exposition in Paris. What seemed like a good idea at the time failed miserably because of a lack of organisation and information. But if the status of the Olympic Games held in Paris was low, the move across the Atlantic to St. Louis in 1904 plumbed new depths. Again, the Games were integrated with another event, which was the Louisiana Purchase World's Fair. The Games were spread over 4 months, and the athletics events were hidden away amongst other US national meetings. With the Olympic ideal in danger of being extinguished, the 1904 Congress of the International Olympic Committee passed the poison chalice of being host city in 1908 to Rome, Italy. However, in April 1906, there was a major eruption of Mount Vesuvius near Naples. The Italian authorities took this as an ideal opportunity to withdraw Rome as host city for 1908. The IOC was asked to reallocate the Games, which they did, to London. Lord Desborough was a member of the British fencing team at the Athenian Games of 1906, which took place just after the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. He was approached in Athens and asked to put together an alternative bid for the 1908 Games. The 1908 Games had less than 2 years to prepare. The fact they achieved so much success in so little time was largely due to the offices of Lord Desborough. So let's have a look at Lord Desborough the man. He was born William Henry Grenfell in London in 1855. Aged 11, he inherited Taplow Court, just outside Maidenhead, which became his home for much of the rest of his life. He attended Harrow School and excelled both academically and on the sports field. Whilst there, he set a record for the school mile that stood for over 60 years. And from Harrow, he went up to Balliol College, Oxford. At Oxford, he rowed in the 1877 boat race, the infamous Dead Heat, and again he rowed in 1878. He is the only person known to have been president of both the Athletic Union and the Boat Club. In 1900, he was returned to Westminster as a Conservative MP for Wickham, and in 1905, he was raised to the peerage as the first Baron Desborough of Taplow. Over the years, he filled many offices in local and national government, including being Mayor of Maidenhead on 2 occasions. Throughout his life, Willie was involved in sporting ventures. He fenced for England, twice swam the pool below Niagara, climbed the Matterhorn by various routes, rowed at Henley Royal Regatta, stroked an 8 across the Channel. They took jambars for bailers just in case so they didn't sink. And he fished for tarpon off Florida and shot big game in the Rockies, India and Africa. He was 3 times amateur punting champion of the Thames, and the medal now awarded for this prize bears an image of Lord Desborough in a punt. A few years ago, the Daily Telegraph compared Lord Desborough and C.B. Fry for the title of the greatest all-round sporting hero of the 20th century, and the newspaper declared Desborough the winner. Willie Grenfell also had a very full and active Masonic career. He was initiated into the Apollo University Lodge, number 357, in Oxford, at the age of 19, and actually on the same day as Oscar Wilde. In 1884, he became a joining member of Ellington Lodge, number 1566. Grenfell Lodge, number 3077 in Buckinghamshire, was consecrated in 1904 and named in honour of Willie Grenfell. Willie was the founding senior warden, and he paid for the cost of the lodge's warrant. Lord Desborough was appointed Junior Grand Warden of United Grand Lodge of England in 1906, and this was an office he held at the consecration of the Berkshire-based Lord Desborough Lodge in 1907. It's of note that given the slow passage of the Lord Desborough Lodge petition, the Martin Lodge, number 3202, was consecrated before the lower numbered Lord Desborough Lodge. And it seems very likely that apart from members of the royal family or those who have held the rank of Provincial Grand Master or above, Lord Desborough is the only individual to have two lodges named in his honour. That is, the Grenfell Lodge, number 3077, and the Lord Desborough Lodge, number 3200. And I personally think it's unfortunate that Grenfell Lodge has been renamed the Buckinghamshire Emergency Services Lodge. Just as a matter of interest, the Lord Desborough Past Masters jewel bears the coat of arms which was granted to Lord Desborough on his baronetcy, and which is the Grenfell arms amended by the addition of a pierced coronet and bar. This is different to his personal arms displayed on the founder's jewel, which show the Grenfell arms impaled or joined with those of his wife, and you can find examples of these in the museum. But let's go back to the 1908 Games. In many respects, moving the 1908 Games to London was the ideal solution to the problem caused by Vesuvius. England had much more collective experience in organising large sporting events than any other country. The overall organisation of the 1908 Olympics was impeccable and included many innovations. They were the first Olympic Games we would recognise as being similar to the spectacle we enjoy today. For the first time, all athletes had to have been nominated and represent their respective country. The system of using qualifying standards and preliminary competition was introduced and has been followed ever since. They were even the first to have an opening ceremony. The presentation of prize medals and the issue of a commemorative medallion to all participants were a further innovation. It's worth noting, as you can see here, that these medals, which Lord Desborough had designed, feature Apollo in his chariot, a symbol of his mother lodge. The organising committee were fortunate that a large Franco-British exhibition was being held in 1908, and a site had been chosen at Wood Lane near Shepherd's Bush. Because of the building materials used, this site became known as the White City. Then the organisers of the Franco-British exhibition constructed at their own cost the stadium and all the associated facilities needed for running the Olympic Games. Ultimately, the White City Stadium, as you can see here, contained a running track, a cycle track, and a swimming and diving pool. It may, however, have helped that one of the key moving forces behind the Franco-British exhibition and the developer of the White City site was a certain Worship Brother Imre Calfrey, a past Grand Deacon. Now, there are a large number of influential Freemasons involved in the 1908 Games. King Edward VII, who, as Prince of Wales, had been Grand Master of UGLE, along with Lord Ampthill, provided much support in putting together the Olympic bid and making that bid work. The opening ceremony, including the parade of athletes and the order in which they entered, was devised and organised by Worship Brother John Kynaston Studd, a past Grand Director of Ceremonies and future Provincial Grand Master of Cambridgeshire. The King and Queen attended the opening ceremony and were received by Viscount Selby, past Grand Warden, and Sir John Cockburn, past Grand Deacon. Other Grand Officers were also members of the organising committee. And quite by accident, the now accepted distance for the marathon was also established in 1908. The original course was 42 kilometres, or 26 miles, 172 yards long, and was set out by members of the Polytechnic Lodge number 2847. But the starting line was moved on the day by 213 yards from its original location to underneath the nursery window at Windsor Castle in order to give the royal family a better view. The resulting distance of 26 miles 385 yards or 42.195 kilometres was internationally accepted as a standard marathon distance from the 1924 Games held in Paris. Now the marathon ended in a spectacular fashion when Dorando Pietri of Italy collapsed after entering the stadium ahead of all the other runners. He was revived by doctors and some of the officials helped him to the finish line. And the individual seen on the extreme right of this picture is thought to have been Sir Worshipful Brother Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the author of the Sherlock Holmes novels. Pietri was disqualified, but only after officials had argued for an hour and fights had broken out in the stands. But finally, in a speech at the closing banquet of the 1908 Games, William Hayes Fisher, future Lord Downham and a member of Fulham Lodge number 2512, said this of Lord Desborough: "Well, I must say, you must search Great Britain all over, and you won't find any other man with the necessary combination of qualities as Lord Desborough. He is one of the two great pillars upon which the whole fabric of the Olympic movement in Great Britain is founded." And it's very difficult not to find Masonic significance in that.